It was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do.
Fans and her teammate, Caitlin Clark, were taken aback by Sophie Cunningham's unexpected moment. By making a stunning revelation in the middle of the game, a $25 million Nike contract bearing Caitlin's name. As cameras caught Caitlin's unfiltered, emotional response in real time, shock, disbelief, and happy tears. This was more than a contract. That IT was a moment that defined a career and made a strong statement about. Women's sports are at last receiving recognition. But what does this mean for Caitlin's future, and how did Sophie pull this off? Just watch to see how she responds. IT was the unexpected moment. IT began just like any other day. Caitlin Clark believed that the strategy meeting she was about to attend was just another planning session. Before the team took the court, they were hidden away in a quiet conference room. She anticipated going through a few updates regarding the sponsorship agreements she had been pursuing prior to the draft. Perhaps talk about some marketing. Pitches, after which practice will begin. However, she felt that something was unusual as soon as she entered. There was an almost electric charge in the air. Sophie Cunningham, a seasoned WNBA standout, was seated at the table. For her unwavering composure and unrelenting drive, Caitlin has always looked up to Sophie, a player who was both genuinely warm and tough. However, Sophie's typical composure had provided way to an obvious blaze of enthusiasm. She was holding a stylish folder to her chest, as though it had a treasure too precious to part with. She could barely contain her smile as her eyes glistened. Curious, Caitlin cocked her head. What's happening? Her voice was soft, but her heart was racing as she asked. Sophie took a while to respond. Rather, she got up, went over, and placed a folder in Caitlin's hands. Go on, she pleaded, her voice full of passion. Open it. You own this, with a hand that was a little shaky. Caitlin opened the folder. As soon as she saw the document within, everything around her appeared to get hazy. There was something she could hardly believe, printed in large letters with a recognizable swoosh insignia shining up at her. Believe. A $25 million Nike endorsement deal. IT was among the largest offers ever made to a female basketball player, and her name was on it. Caitlin was unable to move or speak for a few startled seconds. A quiet silence descended upon the room. It seemed as though everyone was holding their breath in unison with her. Her heart was pounding loudly in her ears. This was the kind of prize she had imagined in her dreams, the kind of moment that would change her life. Perhaps it won't happen for years, if at all. As reality set in, tears clouded her eyesight. All those evenings spent practicing by herself. In the gym, all the skeptics she had disregarded, all the occasions she had questioned whether her aspirations were too lofty. Everything had come to this point. What was even more shocking was that the surprise had not come from an anonymous business boss. IT originated with Sophie, a mentor and friend who had discreetly worked behind the scenes for weeks, advocating for her with Nikes. Decision-makers, ensuring that Caitlin's exceptional talent was recognized and appreciated. Overburdened, Caitlin raised her head to meet Sophie's radiant stare. She recognized then that she wasn't merely seeing the beginning of a momentous connection with Nike. She was also witnessing a strong display of devotion and faith from someone who had nothing more to desire, rather than watch her shine. Many people stated how surprised they were by Sophie's warmth and consideration. So, is it an investment for the future or a genuine expression of love? Let's examine the specifics of Sophie's rise to fame. For years, Sophie Cunningham was the WNBA's definition of hard effort. She gained notoriety for her no-nonsense approach and fiery energy, spectacular headlines or viral moments. Sophie, who was selected by the Phoenix Mercury, established herself in the league by putting in a hard effort, making key three-pointers, shutting down opponents, and displaying an honest, a genuine and pleasant down-to-earth attitude, in contrast to some of her contemporaries who became. Sophie's endorsement journey was more modest in the faces of major ad campaigns. She collaborated with nearby companies, and backed women-focused sports companies, decisions that represented her ideals but didn't generate millions of dollars. Despite being well-liked by the league for her dependability and morality, she wasn't the athlete that organizations were making transactions for millions of dollars. Sophie was strategic, but she wasn't resentful. She was aware of the power that a significant endorsement agreement might be reached, that IT was about visibility, advancement, and more than just money, and changing how women's sports are portrayed. And when she witnessed Caitlin Clark thrilling audiences, Sophie was aware that something exceptional was taking place, since it was packing arenas and garnering national news. Caitlin was a movement as well as a gifted athlete. Her charisma, energy, and flair were captivating supporters in a manner not seen by the WNBA in many years. Thus, when Nike contacted Sophie about increasing their investment, she saw a chance in women's basketball, but wasn't just for herself. In a daring and altruistic action, she made the decision to highlight Caitlin Clark. Sophie advocated for Caitlin rather than promoting herself. She showcased Caitlin's influence both on and off the court using statistics, videos, and anecdotes. She demonstrated to Nike not only Caitlin's athletic prowess, but also her potential as a symbol. IT was a big risk. The majority of athletes would have taken advantage of that opportunity to ensure their own future. Sophie, however, wasn't thinking tiny. Her belief that a deal for Caitlin could lead to opportunities for all women in the game was rewarded. She didn't anticipate. Nike paid attention that in addition to agreeing, they fully committed a historic $25 million agreement. Was signed, Caitlin Clark became the face of Nike women's basketball, and the sports world marveled. One of the loudest statements in recent sports history was made by Sophie's silent show of support, that genuine leaders inspire others. Additionally, even though Sophie's name wasn't on contract, her fingerprints were all in the present. Sometimes, legacy is based on what you assist others receive rather than what you take. But why, of all people, did Sophia personally choose Caitlin? What makes her fortunate to receive the surprise? Prior to delving into specifics, let's take a quick look at the rookie who revolutionized the playbook. Caitlin Clark. As soon as Caitlin Clark entered, when she first appeared on the WNBA court, she wasn't just any rookie, she had high expectations. During her time in college, when she was more than simply a basketball player, her name had already become famous. She reinterpreted it. With each incredible deep three-pointer and daring, thrilling performance, regular games became national events thanks to her. Stadiums were packed, television numbers skyrocketed, and individuals who hardly watched basketball before all of a sudden became devoted supporters. She had a cultural impact in addition to one on the scoreboard. Caitlin possessed a unique spark that enhanced the size, brightness, and excitement of everything around her. Excitement ensued when she decided to enter the WNBA. Ticket sales skyrocketed everywhere she performed. Media outlets were unable to obtain enough. The buzz was genuine and ongoing. However, despite all the attention and promise, Caitlin has yet to secure a historic endorsement contract. Indeed, brands were circling and conversing, were in progress, but nothing tangible had emerged until a strong push appeared out of nowhere. Let's return to Sophie Cunningham now. Sophie, a reputable WNBA veteran, was impressed by more than simply Caitlin's game. She realized that she could alter the course of events. Sophie quietly yet steadfastly stood up for Caitlin. Behind the scenes, she saw that Caitlin was a once-in-a-generation talent rather than just another rising star. Talent has the potential to usher in a completely new era for women's basketball. Then the game changer arrived. Nike responded with an enormous $25 million agreement that rocked the sports world. This was a message rather than merely a sponsorship that IT informed the globe. Women's basketball is worth investing in, not just watching. According to reports, the agreement comprises a unique signature shoe line created specifically for Caitlin, extensive national advertising campaigns based on her story, and important community initiatives aimed at developing girls' basketball at the local level. It was about every woman who has ever wanted to put on sneakers and frolic in big lights, Caitlin. WNBA players have been working tirelessly for years, frequently receiving little compensation, while they watch NBA players land. Transactions totaling hundreds of millions of dollars. That gap conveyed an unmistakable and annoying message. However, that message is currently being revised. What fans and insiders had suspected was confirmed by Caitlin's deal. Women athletes can increase revenue, attract viewers, and ought to be the focal point of significant marketing initiatives. Perhaps more significantly, it demonstrated that change is possible, not only from organizations or leagues, but also from athletes. Sophie and other veterans are capable of creating